This is gonna take longer than I thought.
Oh my god.
This is me genuinely worried about when I'm gonna find the time to fit these all in, because this is coming from someone who's currently reading The Count of Monte Cristo. I'm going to have so many books that I want to read. Can you sense the panic? Today I'm going to be going through my physical TBR, and I'm going to be rating my books very scientifically using a board. The board I've been using during my tonsillectomy recovery when I couldn't speak. I still can't speak properly, by the way, but I'm trying, and I hope I'll manage for the rest of this video. But anyway, yeah, this is my extremely scientific formula for rating my TBR. I'm going to be rating everything out of 5 and adding it up towards the end to count it out of 25. We've got cover. I picked a lot of these books based on the covers. Font size, let's see how daunting some of these are. I know War and Peace is in there, so. Book length, again, War and Peace, so contender here. Vibe, general vibe. And impulse, how likely I am going to change my mind about what I'm currently reading and pick up this book and read this next. So let's start with the first one. Yeah, my TBR cart's a bit of a mess at the moment because I've got a lot spilling out of it. I probably need a second TBR cart, but don't tell my husband that. Jane Eyre, a classic that I haven't read yet. This is pretty self-explanatory. I've been wanting to read this for years. I don't know why I haven't. Don't ask me why. I love the Penguin Classics covers, so that's going to be a 5 out of 5 automatically. I use a black pen for this. Font size, not too bad. Not too bad. Let's give it a 3 out of 5. Book length, I wouldn't say it's too daunting, so I'm going to give this another 3. Vibe, let's say I'm feeling it right now. I would like to read Jane Eyre very soon, so I'm going to give it a 4. And impulse, 5. So, okay, I'm going to do the maths. 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20. Jane Eyre gets a solid 20 out of 25. This is going to take longer than I thought. And that's one book. I should have about 60 books in my TBR. Next one, let's go for a non-classic, because I've got quite a few classics up here. But Elizabeth Day, One of Us. I actually didn't go for this based on cover alone, though I do love the colours. The greens are wow. I went for this because the plot had Swordman vibes, which I had really enjoyed, so this was an automatic pick for me. Yeah, it's basically the story of 2 guys, I'm reading from the back, 2 guys who were friends for decades, best friends, before the terrible event at Ben's 40th birthday party tore them apart. So when Martin receives a surprise invitation back to the inner sanctum of the dazzling Fitzmaurice family after 7 years of silence, he can't resist the chance to get his revenge. Ben has risen to the ranks of power but is now touted as the next Prime Minister. But Martin can't help but notice certain flies in the ointment. With everyone watching, the stage is set for a reckoning. It's time for Martin and Ben to confront what love truly means when everything, family, power and loyalty, is on the line. Yeah, this sounds really good. It does have those Swordburn vibes, which I was automatically drawn to. Let's give it its rating. So, cover. Solid 4 out of 5. Font. Oh, that's rather nice large font. God, I sound like such an old lady. Rather nice large font. But yeah, I am at that age where I like large font. So font, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Book length, it's not too bad. I'm trying not to spoil myself by reading the end. 330 pages, so not too bad. Let's give it a 3. Vibe, give it a 5. And impulse, I'll give it a 4. So let's do the maths again. 9, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 out of 25. Quite a solid score for One of Us. Okay. Next is another classic. This time not a Penguin classic. This is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, which I'm surprised I haven't read yet as well. The cover is gorgeous. I picked this particular edition because of that. Look at that. But aside from that, let's rate it. So, cover, 5 out of 5. Font, 3 out of 5. Book length, 4 to 8. Ooh. Let's give it another 3. Vibe, 4. Impulse, I want to read it, but I'm not saying I got it to read it, so let's give it a 3. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 out of 25. That, my friends, is the rating for Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, my extremely scientific formula. The Master Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. I'm going to re-say that because I'm stumbling over my words. The Master Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov, I pronounced it properly, which I've been drawn to for years but never read it. I studied Soviet history at university. I never really got into Russian literature, but now I'm working my way into it. I've just read Dr. Zhivago, which I really enjoyed. Well, really enjoyed. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. More about that in another video, but for now, I'll talk about this. Master Margarita. So the cover is pretty cool. I know the plot is pretty cool too, because I've known about it for years and it's always appealed to me, so I don't know why I haven't read it. And yeah, let's rate it. So, cover. Come on, this is a great cover. So, 5 out of 5. Font, solid 3 out of 5. Book length is 4 to 3, so let's give it another 3. Vibe is a definite 5, and impulse is probably 5 as well. So 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 out of 25. Ooh, that's quite a good score. 21 out of 25 for the Master and Margarita. Unruly. I've talked about Unruly in another one of my videos, probably when I was putting together my ill-fated October TBR. I still want to read it, just need to find the time to. So let's rate it. Cover. It's a nice cover. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. Font. Ooh, that's large. Nice. 5 out of 5. Book length, quite long, so 3 out of 5. Vibe, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. And impulse, 3 out of 5. It's going to get a lower score than the others. 3, 6, 9, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17.5 out of 25. Not the highest rating, but it'll do. I'll read it eventually. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books so far. Let's see what's next. The Iliad by Homer. Again, another one I've been meaning to read for years. Love the cover. The font is scarily small, but I am easily daunted. And it is 442 pages. So, cover. 4 out of 5. Font, 3 out of 5. Book length, 3 out of 5. Vibe, I'd say 4 out of 5. And impulse, 4 out of 5. So, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 out of 25 for Homer. With my very scientific methods. Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment, another Russian literature book. So, been dying to read this. Don't know when I'll get around to it, but the vibe is there. The cover isn't that amazing. It's kind of creepy, but yeah. I'll give the cover 3 out of 5. Font will get a nice... Oh, for Russian literature, it's not actually that small. Very good. So I'll give it another 3 out of 5. Book length. Yeah, this is a bit longer. 656. 3. Vibe is 5, Vibe is vibing, and Impulse, probably pick it up very soon, so 4 out of 5. Oh, I've rubbed this off slightly. 3, 6, 9, 14, 18. 18 out of 25. Maths isn't my strong suit, so if I get any of the sums wrong, please let me know in the comments. What's next? What's next? Burial Bones in the Midnight Soil, V.E. Schwab. So this is definitely one I picked up because of TikTok, Instagram, etc. But the plot alone sounds really interesting. I mean, sapphic vampires, really interesting. Drew me in right away. It was an automatic buy when I bought it. Yeah, I think I got it during my book haul last month. The vibe is there. It's strong. So let's go for cover. I really like the font on this cover actually. It's gorgeous. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Font is quite large. Let's give it a 4 out of 5. Book length. It's relatively long. Surprisingly long. 530 pages, so let's give it a 3 out of 5. Vibe is 5 out of 5, like I said. And Impulse, I'll probably pick this up relatively soon, probably in the new year at this rate, so let's give it a 3. 19 out of 25 for Burial Bones in the Midnight Soil by B.E. Schwab. Next up, Onyx Storm. I don't think I really need to go over the plot for this one. You all know what the plot is. I haven't finished Fourth Wing yet. I've been talking about finishing Fourth Wing for the past couple of months, which is sad. Sad, and just goes to show how very little time I have, and also how my attention span wavers like I don't know what. So let's give this a quick rating. Cover, I love the cover, so I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Font is 4 out of 5. Book length, relatively long. Let's give it a 4 out of 5. Vibe is, I'd give it another 4 out of 5. And Impulse, I'll pick this up probably in the new year as well, so 3. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 out of 25. Ta-da! And how many books is that so far, Rick? 5, 9. Okay. Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. This is something I picked up during a shopping trip to London last year. I went to the Piccadilly at the Waterstones at Piccadilly. That's what I meant, which is the largest bookshop in Europe. I had had a few drinks, so it was a drunken shopping trip. Fun, fun, fun. Drunken book shopping is great. Yeah, I picked this up based on the cover alone, but it won the Booker Prize in 2023, which I didn't know at the time and I didn't gather. Yeah, I've been meaning to read this since last year or the year before? Last year, yeah. Just to give you an idea what it's about, I had read the inside blurb, but I can't remember because my memory is a sieve. So, on a dark, wet evening in Dublin, scientist and mother of 4, Eilish Stack, answers her front door to find the GNSB on her step. 2 officers from Ireland's newly formed secret police are here to interrogate her husband, the trade unionist. Ireland is falling apart. The country is in the grip of a government turning towards tyranny. And when her husband disappears, Eilish finds herself caught within the nightmare logic of a society that is quickly unravelling. How far will she go to save her family? And what or who is she willing to leave behind? I love the sound of this, to be honest. So, let's rate it. I bought this based on the cover. Let's give it a 5. Font is nice and chunky. And I am an old lady, so let's give it a 4 out of 5. Length is 309, so that's actually quite decent length. So let's say I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Vibe, strong after reading the inside blurb, so 4 out of 5. And Impulse, I'll give it a 3. So 20 out of 25 for Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. I throw that. Surprised I've made it this far without having to down some lozenges, but so far so good. It's been a week since my tonsillectomy, so I've been hoping for some reprieve, but it hasn't come so far. Anyway, let's move on. Boy Mom by Ruth Whitman. So I started reading this before my son was born. I haven't managed to continue it. That's why it's back on my TBR. It talks about trying to raise good sons, basically, in a world where labels like incel, man-child, rapist become rife. It's a scary world we live in, and I want my son to be a decent human being, and I will take anything I can to equip me, including books. So, Boy Mom, Raising Boys in an Age of Toxic Masculinity. Cover, I will give 3 out of 5. Font, not badly sized. I would say 4, length 3, vibe 3, impulse 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 16. 16 out of 25. Carla by Colin Walsh. So this was another one I picked up based on the cover alone. On Shadow, apparently. This is Irish literature again, and that's much I remember. It's a story of, in the seaside town of Kinlough on Ireland's west coast, 3 old friends are thrown together for the first time in years. They, Helen, Joe and Mush, were part of an original group of 6 inseparable teenagers in the summer of 2003, with motherless, reckless Carla Lannan as their group's white-hot centre. Soon after that summer's peak, Carla disappeared without a trace. Now it's 15 years later, Helen has reluctantly returned to Ireland for her father's wedding. Joe's a world-famous musician newly back in town, and Mush has never left, too scared to venture beyond the counter of his mother's cafe. But human remains have been discovered in the woods. 2 more girls have gone missing, and as past and present begin to collide, the estranged friends are forced to confront their own complicity in the events that led to Carla's disappearance and to try to stop Kinlough's violent patterns repeating themselves once again. Against the backdrop of a town suffocating on its own secrets, in a story that builds from a smolder to a stunning climax, Carla brilliantly examines the sometimes brutal costs of belonging, as well as a battle in the human heart between vengeance and forgiveness, despair and redemption. Ooh. So yes, I bought this based on the cover alone. I would love to read this sometime soon. I don't know when. So this is scribbled out. I don't know if it's part of the cover or if it was my toddler. I think it was scribbled out intentionally, not by my toddler. So I'll give her that. So cover, give it a 5 out of 5 because it's beautiful. Font, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Length, it's 410 pages. It's a hardback, so it looks longer than it actually is. Give it a 4 out of 5. Vibe is 4 out of 5. Impulse is 4 out of 5. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 out of 25. Quite a solid rating for it. Carla by Colin Walsh. I love Irish literature. I have so many Irish books that I still need to read, but I pick them up almost automatically whenever I'm out shopping and I see them. Motherkind. A New Way to Thrive in a World of Endless Expectations by Zoe Blaskey. So I remember I picked this up because a mom influencer I follow recommended this and it sounded really interesting. So I haven't read it yet, obviously, because it's on my TBR. Same as Boy Mom. I'll be reading this when I can, when I find the time, because at the end of the month I go back to work, so my time is going to become even more limited. The cover is beautiful, actually. I love the color combination. So let's give it a 5 out of 5 for the cover. Oh, this isn't writing properly anymore. Font, give it a 3 out of 5. Book length. Again, it looks longer than it actually is because it's a hardback. 310 pages, so let's give it a 4 out of 5. Vibe is 3 and impulse is 3. So 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18. 18 out of 25 for Zoe Blaskey's Motherkind. I actually put together a Notion database documenting all the books on my TBR to try and keep track of everything, but I won't show you because it's really simple and anyone could do it, and I'm still learning Notion. I'm not like some of the experts you see on here who can make magic with it. Next up is Diabound by, I always forget the author's name, Sable Sorensen. Again, I've mentioned this in previous videos, but this was recommended to me because I had enjoyed the start of Fourth Wing very much, and I was told this is even darker than Fourth Wing, which it really drew me in. Yeah, I think I'll read this after Fourth Wing, though, after I finish the whole trilogy. The cover is lovely. 4 out of 5. Font. Oh, that's nice line spacing. Let's give it a 4 out of 5. Length is quite long, so let's give it a 3 out of 5. Just a note to say there's nothing wrong with a long book. It's just that I know my time is limited and my attention span is also limited, so long books scare me, that's all. And this is coming from someone who's currently reading The Count of Monte Cristo. The vibe is 4 out of 5 and the impulse is 4 out of 5. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 out of 25 for Diabound. Can you still see the scores? Just about. This board isn't best quality, but it will do. So what's next? The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. Yeah, this is another popular one on the socials, and I've been meaning to read the Magnolia Park series, but about this caught my attention more, so I picked it up relatively recently. I think I referred to it in my last video, in my last book haul. I won't bother going over the plot because it's quite widely known, but cover is a 4 out of 5. Font is 4 out of 5. Length is quite long. Again, not a bad thing. 457, so 457 pages, quite long, so let's give it a 3 out of 5. Vibe is 4 out of 5 and impulse is 4 out of 5. I think that was the same as Diabound, so 19 out of 25. I could have kept the same scores. But yeah, 19 out of 25 for Jessa Hastings, The Conditions of Will. Green Dot by Madeline Gray. This was part of the Waterstones Tipsy shopping trip. It is about Hera, who is in her mid-20s, which seems young to everyone except people in their mid-20s. Since leaving school, she has been trying to kick and scream into existence a life she cares about, but with little success so far, until she meets Arthur. He works with her, he is older than her, he is also married, but in her soulless office, the large cold room she feels destined to spend her time in, he is a source of much-needed sustenance. And though Hera has previously dated women, she soon falls headlong into a workplace romance that quickly consumes her life. Green Dot is a story about the terrible allure of wanting something that promises nothing and the winding, torturous, often hilarious journey we take in deciding who we want to be. I have to say, Drunken Meat picks very well. So, let's rate it. Cover is 4 out of 5. Font is 4. Book length, it looks relatively short actually, just over 375 pages, so let's give it a 4. Vibe is 4. Impulse is 3. Okay, is this the same score as before? Yeah, I think so. 4, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, yeah. It's been the third 19 in a row. 19 out of 25 for Green Dot by Madeline Gray. Next up is Lazy City by Rachel Connolly, and I believe this is Irish literature too. Yeah, Northern Ireland in particular. Following the death of her best friend, Erin has to get out of London. Returning home to Belfast, an au-pair job provides a partial refuge from her grief and her volatile relationship with her mother. Erin spends late nights at the bar where her childhood friend Declan works. There she also meets an American academic who's also looking to get lost. Parallel to this, she reconnects with an old flame, Mikey. This brings its own web of complications. With startlingly fresh and original voice, jarringly funny, cranky, often hungover, Lazy City depicts the strange, meandering aftermath that follows disaster. Ooh. This is why I shouldn't read the blurb as well. I should just go based on the covers alone, because now I want to read everything. And when am I going to find the time to read everything? So, cover 4 out of 5. Font, let's give it a 3 out of 5. Length, it's not that long actually. 282 pages, so let's give it a 4 out of 5. Vibe is 5 out of 5, and Impulse is 4 out of 5. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Ooh, 20 out of 25 for Rachel Connolly's Lazy City. So that's a top shelf done. I've got 2 more shelves to go. So this is a non-fiction pick, Jesus and John Wayne, by Kristen Kobes-Dumez. If I pronounce that badly, please let me know. White evangelicals corrupted the faith and fractured the nation. Jesus and John Wayne is a sweeping account that reveals how American evangelicals have worked for decades to replace the Jesus of the Gospels with an idol of rugged masculinity and Christian nationalism, or in the words of one more modern chaplain, with a spiritual badass. As Kristen Kobes-Dumez explains, the key to understanding this transformation is to recognize the role of culture in modern American evangelicalism. Oh my God. Evangelical books, films, music, clothing, and merchandise influence the beliefs of millions, and evangelical popular culture is teeming with muscular heroes, mythical warriors, and rugged soldiers, men like John Wayne, Mel Gibson, Donald Duck. Oh well, Donald Trump and the Duck Dynasty clan, that's why I said Duck, who assert white masculine power in defense of Christian America. The values at the heart of white evangelicalism today: patriarchy, authoritarian rule, my God, my pronunciation today, aggressive foreign policy, fear of Islam, ambivalence towards #MeToo, and opposition to Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQ community have transformed the faith with enduring consequences for all Americans. This was an automatic addition to my shopping basket last time, and I can't wait to read it. I'll be reading it very soon. Cover, it's a 3 out of 5. Font is about a 3 out of 5. Book length is about 309 pages, so let's give it a 4. Vibe is 5. Impulse is 5. Another 20. 20 out of 25 for Jesus and John Wayne. The Pairing by Casey McQuiston, who I know wrote White and Royal Blue. Yep, says on the cover. I haven't read that yet, but I keep hearing how good it is, so I'll pick that up eventually. And this is the story of Theo and Kit, who have been childhood best friends, crushes, lovers, and after a brutal breakup 4 years ago, estranged exes. It's not until they're trapped aboard the tour bus that Theo and Kit realize they've accidentally booked the same European and wine tour, and now they're stuck with each other for 3 weeks of the most romantic sights and sensuous flavours of France, Spain and Italy. But it'll be fine, they're totally over each other. So when Theo suggests a friendly wager to see who can sleep with their hot Italian tour guide first, Kit is game. In fact, why stop there? Why not a full-on European hookup competition? But sometimes a taste of everything only makes you crave what you can't have. Yeah, this sounds excellent. That's why I bought it. I didn't buy it for the cover alone, even though the cover is pretty. It's my favourite colour. Let's rate it. So, cover is 4, font is 4, book length is, it's not bad. The danger with looking up how many pages is getting spoiled, so I'm trying to avoid that. Don't read. 411, not bad, so let's give this a 4. Vibe is 4, impulse is 4, so 4's all around. It's another 20. 20 out of 25 for The Pairing. When I pick up Red, White and Royal Blue, I will let you know, because that is happening. Costanza by Rachel Blackmore. This is historical fiction. I went for this both because it's historical fiction and the cover is absolutely beautiful as well. So it's basically the story of Costanza. Oh God, I should know how to pronounce these names better, but forgive me. Piccolomini is a respectable young wife until she meets Gian Lorenzo Bernini, the famed sculptor and star of Roman society whose jet-black gaze matches his dark temper. From the second they set eyes upon each other, a fatal attraction is born. Their secret love burns with a passion that consumes them. But with every stolen kiss and illicit tryst, Costanza's reputation is at stake. Meanwhile, Bernini has a dangerous desire. He wants to make Costanza immortal. He vows to possess her not just in body and soul, but also in marble. When Bernini unveils his sculpture of Costanza, she is exposed as his lover, marking the undoing of their affair and the beginning of a scandal that will rock Roman society. For Bernini would rather destroy Costanza than let her go. Betrayed, abandoned, banished, this was meant to be the end of Costanza's story. Costanza is no ordinary woman. From the ashes she would rise. Yeah, this sounds... Oh no, I'm going to have so many books that I want to read. That's why they're on my TBR, but... Oh, how am I going to decide what to read? So cover is instant 5 out of 5. I will give it a 6 out of 5. Very good. Font is 4 out of 5. Length is about 4 out of 5. Vibe is 5 out of 5. And impulse is 4. So 5, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, 22. 22 out of 25 for Costanza. When am I going to read it? When am I going to read all the ones I'm interested in? I think that's everyone's eternal question when they go through their physical, when they go through any of their TBRs. It's normal. That's what I'm trying to reassure myself with. Next up, Daisy Jones and the Six. So I have the audiobook of this, which I haven't listened to. And I thought I'd try the book first because I still haven't gotten used to listening to audiobooks yet. When I was listening to them, I would do so in bed and I'd keep falling asleep and waking up chapters later. So I'm going back to physical books for now until I figure out when's the best time to listen to audiobooks. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I won't go over the plot for this one because this is widely known. Watch the series either, I'd love to watch that too. Sounds like it's way up my street, so let's rate it. Cover is 3 out of 5. I've got a thing against movie and series tie-in covers, so I'm slightly biased in that sense. Font is 4. Book length doesn't look too bad, so let's give it a 4. Vibe is 4. Impulse is 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19. We're back to the 19. 19's on 25. I apologize for this boat, which is driving me crazy. Next up, Funny Story by Emily Henry. Again, another massively popular book on BookTok and BookTube and Bookstagram, so I won't go over the plot. I'm not sure how I feel about the cover in all honesty because I don't really like these graphical covers. I don't know, I don't feel them as much, but you know, it's not that bad. I can live with it. It's not a deal breaker. And Emily Henry is great anyway, so I will live with it. So let's rate it. I do love the orange edges though, that's a really nice touch. Reminds me of a sunset cocktail. So, Funny Story. Cover is 3. Font is 4. Book length is 4. Vibe is 3. Impulse is 3. So, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 out of 25 for Funny Story by Emily Henry. Should count how many books we're at so far. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 22. Okay. Got a few more to go. So, Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. This is another BookTok favourite. I've been meaning to read this for ages. A girl comes of age against a knife, so begins the story of Betty Carpenter. Born in a bathtub in 1954 to a white mother and a Cherokee father, Betty inhabits a world of poverty and loss, of lush landscapes and blazing stars. Despite the hardships she encounters, Betty's resilient. Her curiosity about the natural world, her fierce love for her sisters, and her father's brilliant stories are kindling for the fires of her own imagination. And in the face of all to which she bears witness, the horrors from her family's past and present, Betty discovers her an escape. She begins to write. This is me genuinely worried about when I'm going to find the time to fit these all in, because I really want to read this too. So, Cover is 3. Font is 4. Book length is, it's a little long, but again, not necessarily a bad thing. Let's go to 3. Vibe is 5. Impulse is 4. 19 out of 25 for Betty by Tiffany McDaniel. 19 is a very popular number. Next up, Reservoir Bitches by Dalia de la Cerda. This put me in straight away. It's not just a cover, promise this time. A collection of stories. I'll read it anyway. It's a collection of gritty, streetwise and wickedly funny fiction from Mexico. In the linked stories of Reservoir Bitches, 13 Mexican women prod the bitch that is life as they fight, sew, skirt, cheat, cry and lie their way through their tangled circumstances. From the all-powerful daughter of a cartel boss to the victim of transfemicide, from a house full of spinster seamstresses to a socialite who supports her politician husband by faking indigenous roots. These women spit on their own reduction and invent new ways to survive, telling their own stories in bold, unapologetic voices. At once social critique and black comedy, Reservoir Bitches is a raucous debut from one of Mexico's most thrilling new writers. Yeah, let's go. So, cover is 4, font is 4, book length, it's nice and short, so let's give it a 5, vibe is 5, impulse is 5, so 5, 10, 15, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23, highest rated so far, 23 out of 25 for Reservoir Bitches by Dalia de la Cerda. Next up is Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howard. This is Irish fiction again. It's the early 1990s and in the Irish village of Crossmore, 15-year-old Lucy feels out of place. Despite her fierce friendships, she's always felt this way, and the conventional part of marriage and motherhood doesn't appeal to her at all, not even with handsome and doting Martin, her closest childhood friend. Lucy begins to make sense of herself during a long hot summer when a spark with her school friend Susanna escalates to an all-consuming infatuation and, very quickly, to a desperate and devastating love. Fearful of rejection from her small and conservative community, Lucy begins living a double life, hiding the most honest parts of herself in stolen moments with Susanna. But with the end of school and the opportunity to leave Crossmore looming, Lucy must choose between 2 places, 2 people and 2 futures, each as terrifying as the other. Only one can offer her real happiness. Again, I wasn't very shallow this time and I picked this based on the plot rather than the cover. I can't wait to read it. And I don't know when. And I am panicking. Can you sense the panic? So, cover is... I'll take these off again. Cover is a 4 out of 5. Font is not too bad. Let's give this 4. Book length rather short, so it should be manageable. Give it a 4. Vibe is 4. Impulse is 4. So 20 out of 25. 20 out of 25 for Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howard. So next up is Gather the Daughters by Jenny Melamed. So I'm actually cheating with this one because it's gifted this years ago. I started reading this but never finished it, so I've put it back on my TBR because it's meant to be excellent. On a small isolated island, there's a community that lives by its own rules. Boys grow up knowing they will one day take charge, while girls will be married and pregnant within moments of hitting motherhood. But before that time comes, there's a tradition that offers children an exhilarating taste of freedom. Every summer they are turned out onto their doorsteps, roam the island, sleep on the beach and build camps in trees. And it is at the end of such a summer that one of the younger girls sees something she was never supposed to see and returns home with a truth that could bring their island word to its knees. Yeah, I've heard that fans of The Handmaid's Tale would love this. In fact, it says so over here. That's something about The Handmaid's Tale. So dystopian fiction is something I've always loved, so I would really like to actually complete this. Start it again and complete it actually. So Gather the Daughters. Cover is 3 out of 5. Font is 4 out of 5. Book length, it's not that long. Why didn't you finish it before? 4 out of 5. Vibe is 3. Impulse is 3.5. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.5. 17.5. 17.5, can you actually see that, out of 25. Next up is Iron Flame, which, as with Onyx Storm, will be read as soon as I finish photoing. Not even going to bother going over this one because this ties in with Iron Flame. So basically count that review from before. Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. This historical fiction again. It's a story of Amara, who was once a beloved daughter until her father's death plunged her family into penury. Now she is owned by a man she despises and lives as a slave in Pompey's infamous brothel. Her only value is the desire she can stir in others. But Amara's spirit is far from broken. Sharp, resourceful, and surrounded by women whose humour and dreams she shares, Amara comes to realise that everything in the city has its price, but how much will her freedom cost? It's actually first in a trilogy. I haven't bought the other two yet, but depending on how this goes, they'll probably be instant buys, so we'll see. Cover is 4. Font is 4. It's not that long, so for length I will give it a 4 as well. Vibe is 4 and Impulse is 4. So 20 out of 25. Oh god, you can't see anything, but we'll do our best. And it's 23 books so far. Quite a few left to go. The panic, guys, is unreal. The internal panic about how I'm going to manage to get through everything on my TBR and try not to add more in the meantime. I think I need to instill a book buying ban, but I'm going abroad next month for my birthday, and it's my birthday, so it will automatically be an excuse to buy more books. Treat yourself. I don't know what I'm going to do. Read more. When? Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I've left the price on the back, that's why I'm fiddling with it. This is popular on social, so I won't bother reading out the plot from the back. Historical fiction, so an instant buy for me anyway. Let's get rated. So, cover is... let's give it a 3 out of 5. Font is... oh, not that large. Let's give it another 3 out of 5. Book length, also that long, so this is a 4. Vibe is 5. And Impulse is probably a 4. 19 out of 25 for The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This is Irish literature again, very popular on BookTok Instagram, so I will not go over the plot, but I was interested in the plot as well, I promise, not just the cover. Cover, I love the colour scheme, so let's give it a 5 out of 5. Font is 4. Book length, I would give it a 4. Vibe is 3. Impulse is 3. 19 again. 19 out of 25 for Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. Next up is On Palestine by Noam Chomsky and Ilan Pappé, which was written in 2015, I believe. It's obviously quite a timely read, and I believe it's essential reading for everyone because it talks about suffering Palestinians have had to endure for decades. In fact, I had started reading it, but for some reason I never continued it, so I put it back on my TBR, especially in current circumstances. It's a bit yellow, in fact, but it's meant to be an amazing read, so I would thoroughly recommend this based on what I've read so far of it and everything else. So cover, love the cover, so 5. Font is, let's give it a 3. Book length, it's very short, so 5. Vibe is 5. Impulse is 4. So 5, 10, 15, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 out of 25 for On Palestine. Need to do something about this board. Not the best idea, but I do what I can. Next up is A Libertarian Walks into a Bear by Hongol Tetling. That's a mouthful of a name. Non-fiction, I've talked about this in a previous video, which I'll link above. It was on my ill-fated October TBR. Still like to read it, but I don't know when. I love the cover, so let's give it a 4 out of 5 for the cover. Font is 3 out of 5. Book length, it's not that long, so should be manageable for my attention span. Book length is, yeah, it's not that long, so let's give it a 4 out of 5. Vibe is 4, 3. 18 out of 25 for a libertarian walks into a bear. Look what's next. You know, I'm scared of it, and I'm reading The Count of Monte Cristo right now, which is, let me see, is it as long or long? No, it's longer than The Count of Monte Cristo. But right before The Count of Monte Cristo, I think I mentioned this already, so forgive me for repeating myself. Right before The Count of Monte Cristo, I read Dr. Zhivago, and even though Dr. Zhivago is like under 500 pages, it took so long to get through because, don't get me wrong, it was amazing, it was written beautifully, but it was so heavy, and I think that's just Russian literature for you. Lost my train of thought. The Count of Monte Cristo is very long at 1243 pages, I believe, but it is much easier to get through. I think I read 100 pages in one sitting yesterday, which is a record for me. So here you've got both length and heaviness, which is going to be tough, but I will get through it because I'm dying to read this. I want to read more Tolstoy. Cover is 3 out of 5. Font is tiny, tiny, look at that. And the line spacing, or no line spacing, let's give it 3. Book length is 3. Vibe, however, is 5, and impulse is 4. So it's going to get a relatively low score, but I am wanting to read this relatively soon. 3, 6, 9, 14, 18. 18 out of 25 for War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Next up is The Israel Lobby and is US Foreign Policy, which is by John J. Mearsheimer and Stephen M. Walt, who I studied Mearsheimer when I was at university, so he's not that foreign to me. It talks about the pro-Israel lobby in America in a very, very, very brief nutshell, but again, it's a timely read. I look forward to picking this up. When is the question? Cover is, 3. Font is 3. Book length, it's not that long, so let's give it a 4. Vibe is 4. Impulse is 3. So 3, 6, 9. 17 out of 25 for The Israel Lobby. God, the board is such a mess again. I apologize, guys. Next up is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I went over this in a previous video. Again, that's doomed October TBR pick video. So I won't go over the plot again, but yeah, I've been wanting to read T. Kingfisher's books for a long time, and this is no exception, so let's rate it. Cover is, that's a cool cover. 4 out of 5. Font is 4 out of 5. Book length, that long. I keep saying it's not that long as if it's a good thing. Long is also good, so I keep reinstating that. 319 pages, so let's give it another 4. Vibe is, I would say, 4, and impulse is 3. So, 19. Another 19. For Nettle and Bone. Marta, another one from the October TBR. I'm going to go ahead and rate it. The cover is great. I love the colour scheme, look at that. So shallow. So cover is 4 out of 5. Font is 3 out of 5. Book length is, it's about 330 pages, so not that long. Let's give it a 4 out of 5. Vibe is 3 out of 5. Impulse is 3. 3, 6, 9, 17. 17 out of 25 for Martha. Next up is another popular book talk one, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. Again, I'm not going to go over the plots for this. It's dystopian fiction, which is amazing. Yay! Oh, the battery on my camera is dying, so I need to change battery after this. And let's rate it quickly before the battery dies. Cover is 4 out of 5. Is 4. Book length is 4. Vibe is 4. Impulse is 4. So 20 out of 25. Very quickly, I'm going to go change my battery. I am back with my spare battery in, and let's go. Teddy by Emily Dunley. I bought it because the author's name is Emily, my daughter's name, and Teddy is my son's nickname, Tia. I'm going to read out the plot. Summer 1969. Rome is awash with glamour and intrigue. After a string of wayward years, Teddy Huntley Carlyle is fresh off a plane from Texas with a new diplomat husband in tow. In Rome, Teddy will be good. And Teddy is good until the 4th of July when she's caught on camera in the arms of the American ambassador, moments after spotting a man from the darkest corner of her past. There it is, the evidence of her depravity on film. Trying to recover the photographs and keep her reputation intact, Teddy descends into the dark underbelly of the city. But is she in over her head? Very interesting sounding. Again, drawn in by the cover, or the title and author name. Cover is 4. Font is 4. Book length is, let's give it a 4. Vibe is 4. Impulse is probably a 4 as well. Ooh, just read one of the reviews. Mad Men meets a White Lotus. Love. So this is a 20 out of 25 for Teddy by Emily Dunley. Next up is Normal People by Sally Rooney. Irish again. Not going over the plot again. Do love that cover though. Love the illustration. 5 for the cover. Font is 4 out of 5. Book length is, let's give this a 4 out of 5. Vibe is 4. I've been meaning to read this for a while. And Impulse is, I'll probably pick it up in the new year, so let's give it a 3. For a 12, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20 out of 25. I don't know why I'm bothering holding up the board anymore, you probably can't see anything, but yeah, I have hope. Wedding People by Alison Espach. Did I pronounce that properly? I don't know. But anyway, this is another book talk favourite. Again, I've heard many good things about this. The cover is gorgeous as well, I love it. But it's also the plot that actually drew me in, and not just the visuals. So yeah, I don't know when I'm going to pick this up, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Cover gets 4 out of 5. Font is 4 out of 5. Book length is 4 out of 5. Vibe is, I don't know why I'm nodding my head, but anyway, vibe is 4 out of 5. And Impulse is probably 3 out of 5. 19 out of 25 for The Wedding People. I'm going to do these at the same time because it's the same author, Coco Mellis. It's Cleopatra and Frankenstein and Blue Sisters. I'm more drawn to Blue Sisters than Cleopatra and Frankenstein, but I've heard both are excellent, so I will be picking up both at some point in the near future, hopefully. Their covers are very similar, so I'm going to give them the same rating. They're about the same length as well. So, cover, let's give it a 4. Font is about 3. Length is about 4. Vibe is about 4. 3. 18 out of 25 for Blue Sisters and Coco and Frankenstein. Better So Black by Lyra Celine, which is the first in a series that I keep mentioning I want to start but haven't gotten around to it. This is another Fourth Wing type of affair. I don't know why I haven't gotten around to it because it's been high on my list for a while and I do want to read more romantasy and fantasy. We'll get there eventually anyway, I hope. I'd like to get to all of these eventually, as I keep mentioning, but it's just hard. it's hard when you have zero time to yourself. And with work starting again after my maternity leave, it's going to be even tighter than it was before. Feather So Black. In the interests of hurrying up, I'm not going to go over the plot, but it does sound really interesting. So, cover is tree, font is tree, book length is about tree as well, vibe is 4, impulse is 4. So 4, 8, 17. 17, don't know why I'm bothering going it up. 17 out of 25 for A Feather So Black. The School for Good Mothers. Again, this is another recommendation for people who enjoyed The Handmaid's Tale. I'm slightly worried about this one because anything involving children and babies, especially very young kids, really gets to me. I didn't even watch the last season of The Handmaid's Tale because I spent the whole time scared that something was going to happen to Irina's baby. I am in that phase at the moment. I'm in a very delicate phase of postpartum. I don't know when I'll read this. I hopefully will read it soon though, because it's been on my shelves for a while and I just put it on my TBR cart with the intention to read it. So, The School for Good Mothers, just to give you an idea. Frida had fed and changed her toddler Harriet. She had a work deadline. An article to finish, a job hanging by a thread, the file she'd left in the office. She would go get it, Harriet would be fine, but then the neighbours heard her crying. Soon the state decides that Frida is not fit to care for her daughter, that she must be retrained, that bad mothers everywhere must be re-educated, would their mistakes cost them everything. The School for Good Mothers is an explosive and thrilling novel about love, perfectionism and parenthood. I think this is also very timely. It's going to hit hard when I eventually read it, so I won't read it for now. I will read it, but I'll give myself some reading room. But let's read it on aesthetics. So cover is, yeah, it's a nice cover. So give it a 4. Font is 4. Book length is 4. Vibe is, give it a 3. So the book's folds, impulse is 3. 18 out of 25 for The School of Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. Next up, and we would have finished the middle shelf with this, is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Needs no introduction. I think I mentioned this in my last video, in my book haul video, where I mentioned that the cover was key in me buying this, not just the fact that I'm heavy on the classics this month. It looks beautiful. I've never actually read Wuthering Heights, but with the recent interest in it because of the upcoming film with Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, I'm planning on reading it soon. Ooh, that's tiny font. I was wondering why it was so thin, and now I know because the font is tiny. Look at that! It's so tiny! The line spacing! What line spacing? Who believes in line spacing anyway? So, cover is 4 out of 5. Font is 3. Book length is about, let's say, 3. Vibe is, let's give it a 4. Impulse is 4. So 4, 8, 12. I just did this one. 18. 18 on 25 for Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. We've got the last shelf, yay! So far we're at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 books. So I rediscovered this at my parents' house recently. I bought this because I was doing a English literature credit at university, and Edgar Allan Poe was the subject, and I read this briefly but not completely. And I'd really like to actually revisit it at some point in the not so near future. So I thought I'd get it in time for spooky season, but yeah, I totally missed the call on that one. But yeah, oh my god, the font is tiny, the line spacing doesn't exist. Oh, and it's super dusty. Yeah, this is old. So, the complete tales and poems of Edgar Allan Poe. Tales of terror and the supernatural, murder, mystery, science fiction, poetry, and more. Cover is a definite 4. Font is I realise I haven't given a score below 3 in this video, and I think it's because I hate giving relatively bad ratings, but for this I'm going to give a 2 out of 5 because that is scarily small. Length, it's quite long, but it's short. It's short stories and poetry, so 3. Vibe is 3. Impulse is probably 3. 15. Sorry Edgar Allan Poe. Bit of a low rating for you. But we'll get to you eventually, I promise. Just in case you want to have a look at what's left on the board. Phantom of the Opera. These covers show how old I'm getting because I bought this years and years ago, back when Penguin Popular Classics were still publishing in this style. I had started reading The Phantom of the Opera, but I never finished it. I think around the time the Joel Schumacher film came out, and I was obsessed with Gerard Butler and his Phantom. But anyway, yeah, I just got scared by the spawn size again. Actually, oh, it's short, but it's packed. It's very dense. So let's see. Cover is 3. Font is 2. Book length is 4. Vibe is 3. Impulse is 3. So 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. Damn, you're fine. Oh, that's my millennial brain. Anyway, another 15. 15 on 25 for Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. So this was another one I discovered at my parents' house that had been gifted to me, I don't know by who. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, which looks relatively small compared to its actual length, which is over 1,000 pages. I think I might get a different edition because I don't know if I can. It's so small, really tiny reading it, like I have to hunch over, and I don't know. Looks more like, it's part of a collector's library edition, so I think I will get a new edition of it at some point when I actually do find the guts to read it. The cover, I don't really like the cover, to be honest, so I'm going to give it a 2. 2. Font is scary. 2. Book length is 3. Vibe is 4. Impulse is 3. 14 out of 25, sorry Tolstoy. Next up, doing them in rounds of 3, we've got 3 Frederick Backman books who everyone's been raving about. I've got Anxious People, Beartown, and A Man Called Owl. Would love to read all 3 very soon. Again, time is the issue. So the covers all pretty similar, so I would say a 4 out of 5 for the covers. Font is, it's a 4 out of 5. Length is about a 3. Vibe is 4. Impulse is 4. 19. 19 out of 25 for the 3 Frederick Backman books. I'm surrounded by books and I love it. The Hobbit by Tolkien. So I recently reread The Fellowship of the Ring for the first time in years. I had last read it when I was 14 when the movies came out. Oh god, this just shows how old I am. But anyway, Tolkien's very high on my list to continue reading. I'm just reading a few more classics in between before I start the Tolkien extravaganza again. So next is The Two Towers, but after I finish Lord of the Rings, I'm going to pick up The Hobbit and read that again. Look out for videos related to that in the future. This edition. Absolutely gorgeous. Cover is 4. Font is 4. Book length is 4. Vibe is 5. Impulse is 4. So 21 out of 25. I'm not even going to bother showing you the board because I can't read it anymore. It's just a mess. And erasing doesn't help. Look at this. Look at this. Smudge. Next up is Sovietistan by Erica Fatland. So it's a non-fiction book and it's a journey through Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. And again, as someone who studied Soviet history, this was an automatic buy for me. I'm really interested in reading her account of life there, and I think I will pick this up relatively quickly. Love the cover, very Soviet. 5 out of 5. Font is 4 out of 5. Length is relatively long. It's just under 500 pages, so let's give it a 3 out of 5 for length. Vibe is 4. Impulse is 4. So 20 out of 25. 20 out of 25 for Soviet Stan. Now, the next one is very divisive. A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, which is popular for lots of different reasons on BookTok and Bookstagram and the different book communities, because people either love it or hate it. And the more people tell me, no, don't read it, it's an exercise in suffering, and you will cry, and it's awful, and often not the writing, often in the sense of what happens to the characters. So obviously I bought it because I wanted to read it and find out for myself. I don't know when I'll be picking this up. Cover is lovely, so I'll give it a 4. Font is about a 3. Length, oh, it's longer than expected, so 3. Vibe is 3. Impulse is 3. 3, 6, 9. I'm not going to signal John again. 12. 16. 16 out of 25 for A Little Life. I received an academic affair with my Worthy and Wild subscription box. I also received mittens, which are really cute, and a hot water bottle, also really cute. It says bookworm on it. I'd heard of this before and I love the sound of it. I'd probably read it at a time when I can't pick up anything too heavy. Like maybe I'll read it after I read War and Peace for a bit of a, what's the word, amuse-bouche. The story of, I'd read it out, Sadie Shaw and Jonah Fisher, who have known each other for 15 years and they've disliked each other for every one of them. It started with a minor altercation in an undergrad literature class, but as their academic careers developed, so did the intensity of their arguments. By the time they graduate with their doctorates, they're embroiled in a full-on rivalry. So when a position comes up that Sadie and Jonah are both perfect for, their ongoing enmity explodes into a red-hot competition. But as Sadie fights to secure a future, she realizes there might be a way for them both to get their dream job. There's just one catch: they have to get married first. When things get personal, though, Sadie would have to keep her eye on the prize. A fake marriage isn't worth jeopardizing her real career over, is it? Yeah, I love the sound of this. So, a palate cleanser, not an amuse-bouche, a palate cleanser, that's the word I was looking for. My Dog Vanessa, again another popular BookTok read by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I don't know when I'll pick this up. It did sound really interesting, but I need to prioritize. Prioritization is the key, guys. We'll get there eventually. So, rating it quickly, it's going to be a 4 for the cover. Font isn't bad, so let's give it a 4. Book length is about a 4. Vibe is 3. Impulse is 3. 18 out of 25 for My Dog Vanessa. Guys, I'm going to stop here because my throat really hurts and I'm tired. It's only been a week since my tonsillectomy, so I'm feeling it. I'm still feeling it. I've gone over most of the physical TBR. There are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 left out of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. So I've done 55 and there are another 13 to go. You've got the general gist of my very varied, very wide TBR. So if you've stuck with me for this long, thank you for sticking around. It's been a pleasure talking about books and adding more to my need to read pile, because there is a TBR pile, but there's also the let's read this because this sounds really interesting ASAP pile in my head that is quickly forming after this. I'm still hoping to keep up with Classics Month. Over 100 pages through The Count of Monte Cristo. I'm hoping to read Frankenstein next. And after that I'm probably going back to The Lord of the Rings with the Two Towers, so I'm going to put these all back. In the meantime, like and subscribe for more. I'll be back soon, and happy reading.